when she was harassed by a man who was drunk driving a Baleno, and we believe that she was dragged on by the car for nearly 15 meters. Munish joining us for a little clarity on this. Munish, of course, Swati Maliwal, who doesn't know, she's a woman who really fights for women and their rights, speaks on the same issues multiple times on how unsafe women are in Delhi. Cases of this kind, harassment, molestation happening on a regular basis. Now she herself seems to have become victim.
Absolutely, Nabila, and this is a very shocking incident which took place in the national capital. Now, what we have been given to understand by the Delhi police is that, this incident took place around 3:11 last night, and when Swati Maliwal was near the Ames bus stop, it was a backside of bus stop when a car stopped, and the person asked Swati Maliwal to come and sit inside the car. Now, as far as Swati Maliwal is concerned, she has filed a complaint with the Delhi police, and according to her complaint, she was the one who refused to sit with that person. But again, the person went little ahead, took a U-turn and come back to Swati Maliwal, and that is when Swati Maliwal reached near this person near the driving seat, and then she had a little argument with the person. The person was allegedly in a drunken state, but when she was talking to the driver, that is the time when her hand was near the window and the person tried to roll the window, and that is the time when her hand got stuck in the car. But the very same person dragged Swati Maliwal for at least 10 to 15 meters. As of now, the Delhi police has filed an FIR in connection with this case. But as far as the security in national capital is concerned, it becomes really important that a person who is a DCW chief, that person has to face something like this. Not only, she was harassed, but also dragged. So it clearly shows that as far as the people of this mindset are concerned, they are not worried about the Delhi police or, as far as the law and order situation in the national capital is concerned. Nabila.
All right, Munish, stay with us. We also have joining us on the phone line Yogita Bayana. Yogita, a quick word from you as we see Swati Maliwal, the lady who fights for women's rights in Delhi herself, becoming victim to a case of molestation.
It's very, very unfortunate. I actually don't have words to express my kind of anguish that, Delhi city or India per se doesn't care, who is the victim. I mean, it can be high and mighty, it can be powerful person. Like, girls or women are vulnerable in our country, and this is the sad reality, but we really need, now this has surfaced. I have my regards and wishes for her. But at the same time, it really gets us to the question, who's safe in this country? Which women is safe in this country? If Swati Maliwal can go through such a harassment, I really am like, we are worried, and we know what happens to the common person here. So I think this gets us to the larger question. And we really wish her good luck for her recovery. At the same time, we really need to put in effort to make our city safer. And who's to be responsible? Who's the key stakeholder here? We can't blame one person. That, of course, accused are to be responsible, to hold responsible. But, I mean, as a society, we are failing our daughters every single day. I mean, how can we talk about women's safety only and get away with it? We need to work hard on it. And how it will happen, how the day will come when each and every woman in this country is safe. The day is far, because when these episodes and incidences are happening to Swati Maliwal, kind of a person who really raised her voice to others, then we really don't know where to see the light of the day.
No, Yogita, you are an activist, and we see that women walking in the streets of Delhi anytime post midnight. Actually, at any given point of time, they're not safe. Looking at the trend itself on how women are usually molested and sexually assaulted by men who are usually in an inebriated state. But yet the spotlight comes down to police vigilance. In some of these areas there, in fact, India Today carried out a thorough reality check on the streets of Delhi and how extensive is the police presence on the road. But we saw very limited police presence. In fact, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Rekha Sharma joining us on the phone line, NCW chief. Rekha Sharma, one of your own, Swati Maliwal, a victim to a case of molestation. She was dragged on the streets of Delhi. Would you know what exactly has happened? Have you spoken to her?
Yeah, no, I just read her tweet and saw it in the news. I am seeing, in fact, present also. She's speaking in a news channel. And with that only, we have taken cognizance. I'm going to call her as soon as she's free. We have taken cognizance and asked the police to take a stringent action against the perpetrator, because this should not happen. If this thing is happening with the state chairperson of the commission, how will women of the state will feel safe and secure? So we have already taken the cognizance. I'm talking to CP and DCP concerned.
This was exactly the question I also asked Yogita, the activist there who spoke to us a little earlier, on the police presence and vigilance on the streets of Delhi. With the case happening of such nature to Swati Maliwal, again the focus and spotlight shifted to security for women on the streets of Delhi. Should there be more police vigilance? How should the police buck up at this point?
उन्होंने आपके कॉल को
All right, we lost Rekha's connection there, but this is the same Swati Maliwal, one should know, who fights for the rights of women. She takes up cases of molestation, sexual assault, rape. She herself now becoming victim to a case of molestation, where she claims she was out at around 3:11 a.m. and that's when a man driving a Bolero stopped right where she was, tried to persuade her to come sit inside his car, and when she confronted him, he tried to close the window. Her hand got trapped inside the car, and he continued to drag her while he drove away for nearly 10 to 15 meters. Manish is still with us. Manish, have you spoken to Swati Maliwal? She was at AIMS at 3:11 a.m. Was she alone? Was she inside a vehicle? Was she walking at that point of time? Do we know any of the details here?
Well, Nabila, as far as Swati Maliwal is concerned, we have been given to understand is that she was there with few other people. As far as the person who was inside the car, who has been arrested by the Delhi police as of now, that person first approached Swati Maliwal, and he was the one who asked Swati Maliwal to sit inside the car. There was little conversation. But after the conversation took place, he went ahead of that particular bus stop. But after going ahead, he took a U-turn and then again approached Swati Maliwal. Swati Maliwal, we know that she fights for the cause of women, especially those women who are victim of molestation or some other kind of such activities. Then Swati Maliwal approached the driver. She had a little argument, and that was the time when the person started rolling the windows and her hand got stuck in the car. But this person, he was not afraid of the police, and that is why he dragged Swati Maliwal for almost 10 to...
Swati Maliwal herself, let me try and get a first-hand account of what exactly happened with her. Swati, apologies that we're living in a society where we hear of instances of this nature on a daily basis. You yourself fight for women's rights. Today, you're the victim. What happened? Swati, what happened? Would you be able to tell us firsthand what really happened this night, early this morning?
So I was on an inspection. I was trying to inspect the condition of women's safety in the capital. Tall claims are made that now women are safer. And after the Kanjhavla incident, I felt it my duty to, for myself, see what happens at night on the streets of Delhi. So I was inspecting various roads and various areas in Delhi, and I was standing at around 3 o'clock near the AIMS hospital, opposite to the bus stand of AIMS hospital, and several cars were stopping just seeing me alone. And this one man in a car, he stopped right next to me, and he told me to sit in the car and he would drop me anywhere I want. And I told him that, no, I don't need your help because relatives are coming. But he kept pestering me and kept glaring at me, and then grudgingly moved forward. But then came back again in 10 minutes and this time pestered me even more. And when I tried to refuse, he actually started making very lewd gestures at me. He just rolled over the window shield and my hand got stuck in the car. And this man pressed the accelerator, and for 10 to 15 meters, I was dragged along, and it was really scary because somebody came and somebody said something, and this man probably got scared. I was screaming, and he got scared, and he was totally drunk.
and then he let me go. If he would not have let me go, I would not have been able to keep up with the pace of that car because he had pressed the accelerator so hard, and I don't think I would have survived to tell the tale.
Right. You know, Swati, this again brings us to believe that the police have very poor vigilance on the streets of Delhi. And this is just weeks after India Today carried out a massive reality check showing how lackadaisical the police are, despite instances like this coming up on a daily basis. You had very recently a girl who died with a car dragging her along for nearly 2 to 3 hours, right, on New Year's Eve. Now, this is another case that's happened to you. You're the same woman who fights for the rights of women, takes up cases of sexual assault, etc. Where do you think the police have failed with this regard?
I think people are not scared. When I was standing alone, there were so many cars that were stopping. There were trucks that were stopping. People have that feeling that they can do anything. They can act in any manner against a woman and the system will not do anything. And all of these were predators. They were just some of them kept making lewd gestures. It's really, I mean, it was actually extremely frightening. And that is the case that happens with all the women in Delhi. If you get stuck anywhere at night, this is what actually happens to you. And if the Women Commission chairperson is not safe in Delhi, one can imagine what is the condition of women across. It's really shameful. It was horrible. It was extremely traumatizing. And yes, there have been several attempts on me before. There have been several attacks. There have been threats. Death threats, rape threats, but that has not deterred me from my work. I will continue to do my work. I will continue to do these inspections. I think they're very important, but it is a matter of great shame for the nation that even Women Commission chairperson is not safe.
You know, Swati, this again makes us believe that drink and driving checks is absolutely needed, which again is lacking in the national capital, Delhi. You see people in a drunken state driving around, and you witnessed one of such kind. But tell me, were you alone? Were you with a bunch of people? What kind of inspection were you carrying out? Would you detail it for us?
So I went to Kanjhavla, I went to Munirka, I wanted to see, I even went to Mundka. So we were inspecting dark spots. We were inspecting whether PCR, how many PCRs do we really get to see on the road, and I also wanted to see how does it feel alone on the road for myself at night. So I was standing alone, but I had a team which was standing a bit behind me, and it was just an experiment. I just wanted to see what is it that will happen, but I had no idea that something so bizarre and so horrible and so dangerous could have happened. The only reason I survived is because, we got a bit scared at that moment because somebody else also jumped in, one of the team people. But if that would not have happened and if there was some delay, this man would have just dragged me along and probably I would have been another auntie.
You know, this man was alone. He was driving a Bolero. In which area was it, Swati? Would you be able to tell us? And how has the police managed to crack down on him? Did you take down his vehicle number? We believe he's been arrested. Who is he?
I don't know who he is, but he was completely drunk and he was arrested and I was made to identify him. And when I did that and I asked him, are you drunk? Because he was reeking of alcohol. He just said in front of everyone, yes, madam, I was drunk. And I mean, just imagine the impunity with which people are operating. And yes, the police did arrest him, but I'm not very sure if the same would have happened if the victim was not the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Women.
Swati, could you call this a case of attack? Did he attack you brazenly, or was it... All right, we seem to have lost Swati's line there, but she's extensively explained herself. Here, while she was inspecting on the streets of Delhi, she was trying to do her job. She was with a team of people. She decided to walk a little ahead to see what it feels like to be a woman on the streets of Delhi in the middle of the night. And there you have it. She was victim to one such case. A molestation attempt by a man in Delhi driving a Baleno who was super drunk. He's now been arrested.
किसी भी खिलाड़ी को कुछ भी होगा रेसलिंग में तो प्रेसिडेंट देश जो हमारे रेसलिंग प्रेसिडेंट है वो जिम्मेदार रहेंगे, हमारी फेडरेशन जिम्मेदार उस चीज की।
खेल की एक उम्र होती है, इनकी गलती नहीं है, खेल की एक उम्र होती है। हमारी कुश्ती में 32 साल 34 साल नहीं चलता है हमारा।
They wrestled for glory. Now it's a fight for justice. Olympic medalists are on Delhi streets. Dangal, defiance and demand for punishment. How can India stomach this ignominy? Will we leave our champs out in the cold? India Today leads coverage for justice. Dangal for justice is our top focus on India Today.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Pooja Shali and I bring you this special ground telecast. This is unprecedented. Sporting legends from the wrestling fraternity has come forward and are sitting on a dharna here in the national capital, Jantar Mantar. And the allegations are serious. Allegation is against the president of the Wrestling Federation of India, Brij Bhushan Singh. It's also turned political because he is the member of parliament of the Bharatiya Janata Party from Uttar Pradesh's Kaisarganj, and that's why, apart from the sporting allegations of mismanagement, threatening, harassment, psychological, mental and sexual harassment charges too, that this is clearly mismanagement that needs to be put back into perspective. So that's the big issue here. What do we see here? My colleague Ashwini Helen will show you our junior and senior, young and experienced wrestlers, male and female, sitting together in unity. And their charges are very clear. The demands are to the government: ensure action against Brij Bhushan Singh, he's the federation chief. Then reform and refresh the state bodies, dissolve it if required, and save the sport of wrestling. Now the biggest issue is what we see, and we'll quickly go across and speak to some of these wrestlers too, that these are allegations which need to be proven. Government has swung into action. It cannot take for granted what the wrestlers are saying, what the sportspersons are saying. We're not talking about just any sportsperson with any allegation. We're talking about sportspersons who have won Commonwealth medals, Olympic medals, Tokyo medal recently. Bajrang Punia is leading it. Here also we had the Fogart sisters come together. All of this definitely something that the government cannot get away with, because while Brij Bhushan Singh has said, I haven't done anything, and take action if you want, but you will not be able to prove anything because there's nothing wrong against me. And that is why this becomes more crucial, that there will have to be an impartial, fair investigation so that justice is served to them. So we'll begin first with some of the top developments that are coming in on this big story. And let's begin first with that. All right, on the top is, remember, these allegations that are coming in one by one is first wrestler Anshu Malik. She was the one on the stage, said the star wrestler accused the president, Brij Bhushan Singh, of sexually harassing female wrestlers, and that they would take rooms close to those of women wrestlers, keep the door open, made them feel uncomfortable, inappropriate gestures. All of these are charges made by Anshu Malik. She, remember, has won silver medals in the World Championship as well. The Sports Ministry has swung into action, forming a 3-member committee to look into the allegations of sexual harassment by women wrestlers. The ministry has called the wrestlers for a meeting now. The meeting is currently underway. But there was an embarrassing moment.